Hello YouTube, just wanted to go over my 75-gallon fish tank, my stand, custom built stand, and my sump along with my plumbing. To start with, I got a couple of big fish in here, like my Florida spotted gar. I got a couple of brackish water moray eels, and a teacup stingray. They all produce a lot of ammonia, so I need good biological filtration. The water's a little bit murky right now. That's because I just set up a fluidized sand bed filter and it's kicked up a little bit of dust, so the Purigen should pull that out within the next couple hours. I've chose to gone with a constant siphon rather than an overflow, just because this is in my bedroom and I really don't want to make a lot of noise. It is a brackish system, so there's a little bit of salt in it. To start with, on the stand, I didn't want any hinges, so I wanted the doors to be able to be out of my way while I'm in there working on stuff. So instead of that, I used magnets, and the doors just hold in there with magnets, and I can take them completely out. Both doors are the same. This is the inside. Underneath, I got my fluidized bed filter there. My power, all of my power runs off those two power bars. And I got my manifold for the plumbing is up there. The blue valve runs my fluidized bed filter. The red valve is returned to the tank. And the yellow valve there is shut off. Is going to be a Purigen reactor built exactly the same as the fluidized bed. Right now I just got Purigen in a pouch in the sump. I was filling around with some smaller reactors, but I don't like it. I'm going all out. I'm going to get another one of those. Make it right. Go big or go home. The constant siphon. When using a constant siphon, you have to be able to adjust the flow. That's what this ball valve is for. I chose a ball valve over a gate valve because a ball valve is $3, a gate valve is $40. I'll use a ball valve. To adjust ball valves with very slight precision, just tap them with something. You get slight adjustments out of that. That way you can fine tune in a constant siphon with a ball valve. It's just finicky. It is a pain in the ass, but you should only have to set that up once, right? The overflow system, I have my constant overflow and an emergency overflow. Emergency overflow, there's nothing running through it. Shouldn't be anything running through it. I hope there's never anything running through it, but it's there just in case. You never want to flood 75 gallons of water into your bedroom or your house in general. Over here, I have a home-built wave maker system that I've built out of a micro timer, which I set variable from 1 second to 180 minutes via the dials on the side. I have it wired into a 250 volt relay, 5-prong relay, so that's rated for 40 amps, which is well more than I'm ever gonna fucking need. That way you also don't want to start a fire if you're doing electronics like this. But anyway, the timers just switch power from one receptacle to the other. The other system here is an auto top-off system. I have it unplugged right now just because I was doing some fine-tuning, and when you're fine-tuning things, you don't want it to be adding water to the system while you're trying to set it up. But I'll give you a demonstration because I have the autofill here. If I push that button, water's going to come in through the pump and out there. And when the float switch down there calls, it shuts the system off. If this pipe gets plugged for whatever reason and it pumps and starts adding water and pumps, but the pipe is plugged so it's filling up my tank, it's going to call that float switch. That will shut off the auto top-off system. Any extra water will end up going down the emergency overflow pipe, and there still is not enough water altogether in the sump, even in that scenario, for it to actually flood the tank. It'll be sitting right at this rim, but it won't flood the tank, which is always good. You always want to have that extra bit of room because, like I said, 75 gallons is a lot of water to be flooding into your house. Water flows in to the first chamber, just catches some small bubbles, keeps them away from my return pump. Then water flows over with my aquarium heater and up, over, and down through my mechanical filter, which is just a sponge and some polyfill down on the bottom. Water comes underneath, up through a couple custom trays that I made to fit, with activated carbon in it and a bag with some Purigen in it. After that, water flows up over through my bile tray, which I made by bending a piece of plexiglass around and making a tray to sit on top of some bile balls in there. The tray has holes drilled in it, as you can see. Most of the water flows over the top. About 40% of the water flows through those holes and runs over the bile balls. There is an air pocket in between, as you can see, so that I get good bacterial growth. After that, water returns to where my return pump is. I only got one really massive but quiet return pump. This pump runs 1,500 gallons per hour. Again, go big or go home. The pump, I only wanted one pump instead of 4. It keeps noise levels down and everything. And I can just run it up to a manifold, as I was already showing you. And that way, I don't need 6 pumps. I only got 1 pump. And I can run all kinds of things off of it. I even got an extra spot just in case. All of my powers run off these couple of power bars. My light timer unit's all on there. In the case of a power failure, I don't get any back siphoning. Like, it won't end up siphoning my sand back into the tubes or the pipes. I won't get an overflow. The water level is obviously going to rise a lot in this little 10-gallon sump. But I still have a lot of room for extra water, even in the worst case scenario being constant, or the auto top off, filling it up in the scenario of a plugged siphon, and then a power failure. And even in that scenario, the water level is only up to about here, so it's still a little bit of leeway. So I'm not worried about that. I'm going to be adding another safety switch up there and another float switch down there just for resilience, and I'll be cleaning those out every now and then because I really don't want to flood. The reason I went with a constant siphon rather than an overflow is because you heard the thing running already. It's silent. This is in my bedroom, and it's unacceptable with just a regular overflow system. It is extremely noisy with an overflow system. It sounds, once the water gets going, a regular overflow system sounds pretty much like that, if not louder. Actually, it's a lot louder than that. The flow hasn't started going yet, but regular overflow systems are unacceptable for me. This being in my bedroom, I can't happen. With constant overflow, once the siphon is started, you get no air bubbles, or very, very little amount of air bubbles running through here. And the noise is reduced substantially because the only thing making the noise is the air being sucked into the pipe. So if you have no air in the pipe, you have no noise. The only downfall with constant siphons is, like I was saying, takes really fine adjustments. So you're better off with a gate valve, but ball valves work if you tap them for your adjustments. Anyway, that's my tank, my setup. I'm eventually going to be putting a micro switch up here to a relay so that when I put the door on, the light in there shuts off automatically. When I pull the door off, it turns on. And this switch here for the future is going to be wired into a relay that is going to let me know the water level inside the sump here, because this is supposed to be about a 1/4 inch shallower, but my polyfill is getting plugged up. So when this water level raises, it's just going to fire on an LED and let me know that I need to clean my media. But anyway, that's my system, that's my setup. Let me know what you think. Thanks a lot.